32. Those present, Mr. Sawyer's not here, Jason Parento is here, I saw Laurie Reed, yes, you are. Jackie, not Jackie. Jerry's here, Jay is here, Kate's here, Terry, this is Ed Stanton, Mark's here, Rob Getty's here, Jeremy here, Andrew's here, Gail. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Gail. And Peter Gagne. Did I miss anybody?
I don't believe Jay's here.
Jay is not here,
Oh, strike that.
over here.
Yes, thank you for that. Okay, very good.
You're right, we got a quorum.
Very good. All right, first order of business, let's move to approve the minutes of December 20th, 2023.
So moved.
Second?
Very good.
Off the order.
Going quick enough, Terry.
Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about those minutes? No? Very good. I entertain a motion to approve the minutes from December 20th, 23.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved. Oh, and for the record, Jack Jacoby's here as well. All right, what we all came for, the update. Hello, Corey.
How's it going?
Good, how you doing?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Just a quick update. There's not a whole lot going on. Over Christmas break, we came in and did a couple little punch list items. There was a damaged section of flooring in the walk-in, which we repaired. There was a couple control panels and some drywall patching that we did that got added late. And then the auditorium seat numbers, they were riveted on before, but they started falling off, so we ended up screwing those in for a better installation. So we took care of that, as well as some paint touch-up over Christmas break. The EV car charger swap, that started today. So they were all delivered today, and they started looking at the swap. They've been coordinating with Mark on getting the new charge point system up and running. So hopefully by the end of the week, maybe go into the next week, we'll be working on that, and hopefully sometimes next week those will be live and ready for charging. We have a number of things kind of scheduled out for spring, just weather dependent. So we're working with our landscaper and our site work sub just to schedule that work, make sure they have all the materials ready to go. And then as far as some changes, which we'll talk about on the change log as well, but the dehumidification added units in 3 of the shops, that pricing is on the agenda to approve today, and we plan to start that on February 5th. We've been working with Jeremy and the teachers, and we'll kind of integrate that work during school hours. We are going to take advantage of February break as well to do any major disruptive work. But that's about a 6-week duration of work to add dehumidification into those 3 shops. And then we also have the signage. There's some added signage and graphics being installed out in the central office behind the desk out there. That pricing is also to be approved today. Once we get that, we will make that signage and then schedule the install with Mark and Jason. So as we work through the pricing on the rest of these, we'll be able to schedule that work. There's the urban farming unit, which we're working on pricing, but that won't be until the spring. There's some fencing going in at the irrigation skid, just waiting for approval on that pricing, which will probably be on the agenda for next month. That work will happen in the spring. And then there's some desk modifications that we're working with Jason and KBA on to come up with a solution to modify the desk at the Welcome Center, just to make it a little bit more functional for them. So that one, if we can get the design and pricing together and get it done over April break, that's the target, but that one might push to the summer, depending on the timeline. That's pretty much it. Is there any other questions as far as work that's happening?
Yes.
Yes.
3. I had 4, but I see you have roof leaks on the next page. Number 1, the PV array in the parking lot. Can you give those here and those outside an update?
So we are in discussions with Engrid and their engineering department. They are fully reviewing the application. It's 100% in their court. Their engineering department needs to review the design, review the load on the overall grid, and then make decisions on how that's going to get implemented. So Andrea, who we had that meeting with a while back, she's on maternity leave, so we have a new contact, Michelle. Griffin's been in contact. There was a couple emails going back and forth. So letting that kind of run its course right now. The hope is there's enough of kind of understanding from NGrid of what the system is to allow us to turn on the system and do the commissioning to satisfy the project's requirement, and allow for the lead submission to go through and complete the commissioning. But as we need to have a little bit more conversations with NGrid on that before we can feel comfortable. Because if we turn it on and they're not happy, then that could set us back. So we want to make sure they're comfortable with what we're doing and try to just explain we're just turning it on to test it, satisfy our commissioning, and then we'll turn it back off until you tell us to let it to turn
You
it on.
reestablish for us what the expected date of full functionality will be?
I'm hoping anywhere between the spring and summer is our plan, is our hope. But
so
it's really determined by NGrid.
May, June, all right. All right, I also had a question about paint. Where are we on the paint status and various issues with paint?
So we talked earlier.
No, I'm doing it now for the public.
Yep. So we had done testing by Sherwin-Williams. Basically, the testing came back and said that the installation thicknesses and bonding seemed or met the specifications and the requirements for installation. When we walk around and look at the areas, to us it looks like general wear and tear. I know there's been discussions about whether the low VOC paint or other paint stands up better to wear and tear or not. That's kind of to be seen, and kind of where we left it is if the owner would like to do any additional testing, they're more than welcome to.
Right, and I think we indicated earlier, you said the price for that testing would be less than $1,000.
Yeah, I think, Joe, you
Accurate.
said on other projects you've
Other
done.
project we've done it, and it was about $980.
So if that is accurate, I think we had discussed earlier, right, Mason, to pursue it, just as a matter of us doing our due diligence. It seems like a low price to pay to know what the paint situation is.
I think the part of the decision was there were some additional newer paint issues identified that Consigli wanted to get on site and take a look at, and then kind of pending their investigations on that, then we might look at doing some third-party
I just
testing.
looked at those with Bob
Today?
before the meeting, and
Okay.
to us, it just looks like a couple of areas weren't prepped properly.
Okay.
And it actually took us a while to find these locations, so it's not like a lot of them. We found one, and it was clearly a prep issue. Again, nothing that makes us nervous, and actually, we're more surprised that in punch list, it didn't get caught. You know, that's what, to us, it's a punch list item. Ball or anything else. Nothing we're nervous about. So we'll get the painter. The painter's already going through, touching up a lot. It was identified, some of it looks like it was tape, some of it's damage. Doesn't really matter. We're going through and touching it up, and we'll just put this on.
Could you explain what those new findings were and kind of what you looked at today? So everyone knows, because we only
Yeah, there's a, right where the drywall meets the door frame, along a couple edges, it just it bubbled a little bit, for lack of a better term, the paint. And that's usually just an indication of the preparation wasn't done right, or perhaps the paint was put on when the drywall tape was still wet, a little damp or something like that. And it was one location on the 4th floor in the corridor. We checked a lot of the doors and didn't find any other evidence of it, and we didn't see it on other floors either. So, you know, the amount of door frames in this building, I'm not surprised. I'm actually shocked if that's the only one. But it's an easy fix.
Just for the record, were we to decide to pursue this paint test or whatever, is there a date by which you would need to know in terms of any coverages, warranties, is there a drop dead date if we decide we want to go?
I don't think so. I would just want a heads up so that we can notify the painter that the testing's happening.
I just want to keep it open in the short term, but, so that's all. May
And
not,
the other piece of that is we'd want to know what locations, so that it's not something we just touched up. It
Yeah.
might act differently than something that's been on the walls for 3 years.
yeah, fair enough. I just want to preserve for the record the option to do that, that's all. And then lastly, just for those folks who may have been at the inauguration, the community event, the The speakers in the auditorium, you've resolved that issue?
Yes, yeah, there was, oh, Scott, you have something?
I'm sorry, Scott.
I apologize, I just, on the paint,
My apologies.
and it might be a silly question, but who would be doing this other painting, testing? Is it another independent testing body? Just
Testing
a-
lab, similar to what does testing on other parts of the building.
We had testing done, and then this would be testing from another independent body?
Sherwin-Williams did their own testing, but we have the option to hire Briggs or whoever we
Yeah,
use.
that's what I mean. I know Sherwin-Williams did that testing. We're talking about another independent body, just to dot all i's, cross all t's.
The independent testing lab to do the testing.
Yes.
Thank you.
I apologize, that wasn't made clear. Sorry, the audio,
Yeah, the
speakers.
auditorium speakers. So the speakers on either side of the auditorium, they were added late as a change order to the project. And when they were installed, they weren't integrated into the overall audio system during that setup. And so during the power loss, the audio system went offline. When it came back online, the speakers did not come back online with the overall system. So the IP address that connects those speakers with the rest of the audio system was lost, and therefore they didn't connect. We also discovered there was basically how the system is set up. The school IT department doesn't have full access to the network, this Dante network it's called, due to warranty issues and concerns like that. But so unfortunately, the school IT department wasn't able to find the issue and fix the issue until Pro AV came out and assisted them with that. So first step was to reintegrate the system, make sure that the speakers are part of the system now. So in the event of a power loss again, they will come back online with the rest of the system. The other part of it is they're working with Mark and Jonathan and his team. They kind of provided a cheat sheet on things to check and what it should look like if it's set up properly, so they can see if that doesn't match, they'll know if something's wrong. And then I know there's conversations about how to get permanent access once the warranties do expire in that space.
Good, I'm glad it was a relatively easy fix then, that's good.
Yep.
But that's all I had. Anybody else have?
Yeah, one old bugaboo, Joe, you may not have much to add, but the student attendance system, I mean, that's been
I
hanging on
don't.
forever.
Mark, do you have anything? Have you been talking to Craig?
We received the battery packs, so they are now no longer confined to being plugged in. They're genuinely portable, but we're still working on the software.
Still working on the software to coordinate that with your other systems.
Yeah, I think
Any idea
that,
when that will be done?
I think Craig mentioned in the last OAC meeting that he thought that a lot of progress had been made with the vendor and the software developer to get that done. So apologies he couldn't be here tonight and I didn't get an update from him, but it is moving forward.
Good.
Back to the speakers. Was there any damage to the speakers or any other components?
Nope. It just lost its IP network, or the IP address that connected to the network.
Okay, thank you.
Also a question on the speakers. When's the warranty up? Like, if that's prohibiting our IT department from being able to truly triage this on our own,
That's a good question.
curious as to how long the warranty's in place for.
I'd have to double check. The installation warranty is probably like 1 or 2 years. The actual manufacturer's or equipment warranty is much longer than that. So, Mark, I don't know if you have an idea.
I want to say they said the end of this year.
Okay.
This calendar year.
So that'd be a 2-year warranty.
And so while it's under warranty, we don't have access to fully go into our own speakers that
We
we
don't want to.
purchased.
You don't want to.
We don't want to do
You'll
it
void the
because
warranty.
we don't want to void the warranty.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's a pretty complex system that connects all the
Yep.
moving parts of the auditorium, the audio system, the visual system, the lights, the fire alarm, it all connects in, right? So fire alarm goes off, the lights turn on, the sound goes down, like all that is programming. So if someone were to go in there and accidentally delete something or change something, it could mess everything up, and then that would void the warranty, and then you'd be paying a service charge to Pro AV to come and redo the programming or re-download the program.
You want to be
So-
sure the bugs are all worked out of the system, and that gives time for the IT department to be trained on what to do to maintain.
That was my last follow-up, is that while all this is happening and while the vendor is going to have responsibility over this, over the warranty, at some point in time, there would need to be a handoff.
Yes.
So that we
We still
can,
want to do it
yep,
I'm out the door, here you go.
Okay.
Right. And there was extensive training, so, but it's, as far as like the login and password to get into that IP, that network system, they don't have access to.
Okay, thank you.
But to be clear, it sounds like a lot of that training happened with the troubleshooting associated with getting the speakers back on the network, right?
The training to diagnose if there was a problem, to see if there, like for some reason, some piece of equipment doesn't come back online. This is what it should look like. If it doesn't look like this, these are the steps you should take to try to find what the issue is.
And the main issue that we all experienced has already been addressed, so it,
Correct.
okay. So,
That's in addition to the standard training that goes on
Right.
during substantial completion.
right. Thank you.
Then do you want to go to roof leaks?
Yeah, well, I can't wait. I was saving the best for last. There's also another item you have on there, increasing the NTE for the FFE budget. So whatever order you want to go, Corey.
I'm happy to go. We were talking open items, so.
Let's just give the background. We thought we had all of the roof leaks taken care of, but then about 10 days ago, we had a storm on a Friday night into a Saturday morning with wind-blown rain, and 3 more leaks occurred. Now, I understand it, and please correct me, they were minor leaks with a thimble full of water, but still they were leaks. So it's not like we have torrents of water coming in.
Yeah.
And so we have been trying to, as I understand it, to look at roof penetrations that may have had a pinhole, and also then looking at certain equipment, HVAC equipment, to see whether it might have been coming in through a seam there, right?
Yes.
So if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, so one of them is in the cafeteria, and we experienced it maybe a year ago, and we thought we had resolved it, and it came back. So that's why we think it could be the rooftop unit that's right in that spot. So we want to check the seams inside that unit to make sure
And that's not the roofer's responsibility, that's the
Well,
HVAC.
that would be the
contractor.
HVAC contractor. Good point, Jack. And then the other two are brand-new ones that we hadn't experienced before. One of them, again, could be a rooftop unit, which would be the HVAC contractor. And the other one is
The gym, the screen wall post.
oh, yeah, the gym, which, again, isn't a new one. We thought we had it, we thought we resolved it, and obviously we missed it. I mean, the finding a roof leak isn't an exact science. The roofer did come out, and they've come out several times, anytime there is a leak, and they do their forensics, and they do the repair, and they think they got it, and there's only a certain amount of testing that we can do on the roof, but we can't simulate every type of weather possible. So, you know, wind-driven rain is usually the worst enemy of a roof, and that's when you find a lot of these. So we thought we had it, and we had that really strong wind-driven rain from, you know, certain direction, and it popped back up again. So
It could also be that you did find the leak before, and this was a different one.
True.
It wasn't evident until the wind was coming from a certain direction, under a certain pressure, and got into another pinhole that might have been in the
True,
same.
right.
And you just didn't notice it before because the conditions weren't right for the water to penetrate at that location.
So,
It's not like you chased it and missed it. You obviously found something and fixed it.
Yes.
But then this could be another one. And just make it clear, once these seams are heat welded, they typically do not come apart because the heat welding bonds them as one piece of membrane. It's not like adhesive where you're relying on glue to keep the roof seams together. This is actually, becomes one membrane when it's welded together.
And as far as we know, it's not the
We've never,
surface
I was
itself.
just going to say, yeah, so it's not, just to clarify, the surface of the roof has never had an issue since this building's been open, like, and that had a lot of QC along the way, and several independent testing parties, and lots of different people looking at that and testing that. We've had 9 leaks since we've opened this building, and all 9 have some sort of penetration, whether it's a pipe, whether it's a column, whether it's flashing for a fan that sits on the roof. It is not the roof surface itself. We've had a 2-year workmanship warranty with the roofer. So they come out and they haven't charged a dime to the project. This is all covered. Everything that they're doing is covered. And then on top of that, Sarnafil is the roof manufacturer. They warranty the roof for 30 years. So 10 years from now, there's a leak, you call Sarnafil, they send a rep out, they find the leak. If it's definitely something that is under their control, as in, nobody dropped something on the roof and cut the roof or something like that, then they will fix it for free. That's the 30-year warranty that they have, and they're another party that was out here inspecting, and there's all sorts of protocol that we have to follow in order to gain that 30-year warranty. So if they inspect it and something's not right, we wouldn't have gotten that warranty, or the roofing contractor wouldn't have gotten that warranty. So, that's in place as well. So no money's being spent, and, nobody likes leaks, but they happen, and we're not happy with it, but we're not surprised by it either. And we'll continue to research them and fix them along the way.
So based on what you were saying, the roof surface is covered by the 30-year warranty. Does that include the penetration points?
We think, yeah.
Okay.
So,
It's from, it's edge to edge, so the roof fascia that you see on the roof, on the edge of the parapets, from that point, including the metal, down the parapets, across the roof, up the flashings, whenever you have a post, when you have a fan or whatever, it's the entirety, whatever the membrane is touching.
Okay.
It's not the rooftop units, the mechanical units, or the fans, or an intake pipe or something like that. If you get horizontal rain blowing into a fan or an intake, it may come into a duct and leak out through the duct, but that's something that will just happen because of the weather. And typically doesn't happen with the types of louvers and stuff they have on these units, but it can happen. And I think you said it might have happened at 1 or 2 units that we see with this really strong wind we had for the rain.
That's where we think the cafeteria and the ACA.
But when you have a penetration of the roof or an edge, the roof membrane has to come up, and you can imagine it comes up in pieces. They have to cut it in pieces, and they have to seam weld all those little pieces together. They get together, and sometimes, just because people are human, there's a gap, or the heat welding knife wasn't working properly, and there's a gap. But there's a lot more opportunity because of all the seams that happen on a penetration seal, on a flashing, than there is on a flat roof where you've got a seam that's running, every 8 feet on center, continuously down the roof. There's a lot more opportunity for that to happen.
And I think it's also important for folks to understand that this isn't a true flat roof. There's tapered insulation that runs water to
Quarter-inch
the
a foot.
drains. I'm sorry, Joe, what'd you say?
1/4 inch per foot.
Yeah, thank you. And so it's not a flat roof, where somebody might say, gee, why did we put a flat roof on this? So all of the work that's been taking place to date has been under warranty. We're not going anywhere. I think, given the size of the roof and the amount of penetrations and all the equipment that we have, this is a very large building, 478,000 square feet. I think 9 leaks over this period of time is not a huge number of leaks. It's still a leak. We're going to still, review it and find it, but it's not like your house where you see water coming in and you're saying, oh my God, my roof is leaking. It's not like that. So, but we're on top of it.
I have a question first before my main question. How many approximately drains are up on the roof?
Roof drains?
Roof drains?
Oh, I don't know.
Probably like 30.
Yeah, there's dozens.
How many? Dozens?
Dozens.
30,
dozens.
probably.
Now,
Yeah,
you
probably.
have crickets around those, right?
It depends on the slope, yes, but we do. Yeah.
Has there been any puddling around any of the drains?
It typically is not, because that's the reason you pitch to the roof drains. But the leaks that you're getting aren't at the roof drains.
We've had 2 leaks at roof drains, one at the auditorium and one at the stair penthouse.
Yeah.
Those have since been resolved, but yeah, we were getting some water, getting in underneath the roof drain flashing.
Typically, the roofing membrane comes in under the clamping flange of the roof drain and is clamped tight and actually goes into the pipe, into the roof drain pipe. So it's unusual to have a leak at a roof drain because you're having continuity from the water going in and then gravity takes it away. So typically you don't get a roof drain leaking unless it's leaking out of the pipe itself. And that happens. We've had that happen in the past where the pipe actually leaks.
That's what happened at the stair.
Yeah, it wasn't the membrane,
The
it was
pipe
actually the
connection
pipe.
at the roof drain.
But in the past, I've noticed, the previous school, the roof drains tended to be coming up a little higher than the rest of the roof around them. In other words, the roof settled, the roof drains did not. And there was constant puddling around those particular drains, which led to leaks.
Yeah, the insulation around the drain shouldn't settle. It's a rigid insulation, formed insulation, not like fiberglass that can compress. So you shouldn't get settling of the insulation.
But are we?
No, no.
No, you were talking about the old school.
Old school.
I'm talking about my experience, yeah, which was
Yeah.
with the old
The
school.
old school where it was a renovation for the roofing is different than having it designed and planned for the roof. But you shouldn't get, because you have a thickness of insulation and now you have a sump that is a steeper dip into the roof drain clamping ring, you shouldn't get water puddling around that because the tapered insulation is coming down at a steeper pitch from like 4, 5, 6 feet around the drain.
I've been on the roof many times, and they all have sumps cut into the insulation, and none of the roof drains are ponding on this roof.
And it's a little hard to see, but there's a little sump right around each of the roof drains, if you can see here where my cursor is. A little hard to see, but you can see how it's depressed there at the roof.
Insulation, it's not flat, the insulation is cut at a steeper angle to get down to the roof drain. And that's intended to speed
It's a
up the flow of
typical
water that's going into the
Sonofield
drain,
roofing
so it doesn't
detail.
puddle around the drain.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Anything else, Corey? Anybody else?
I just said, we had the change order and the contingency transfers if you wanted to
Sure.
move on to
Yes,
those.
please.
So we have one CR that will be on change order 35. It's a credit of $154,747. It is for unused allowance that was in our site work contractor's contract for unsuitable soils. So this was, we carried a budget in their contract to manage and dispose of soil that was unable to be used, whether it's hazardous soils or,
Non-bearing.
loam or not the right content for subgrade. And that allowance wasn't used, so we're returning it in order to kind of get our site work sub to their final contract value. The savings will also be used to fund some FF&E invoices. So,
You like credits.
yes.
That reminds me, Joe, you and I had emailed because the mayor was wondering how close we were to getting a certificate of compliance for the Conservation Commission for the Highland parking lot work. And what's the update on that?
Well, there's still some renovation work, correction work to be done at one of the weirs, I think, that will
Yes.
provide the volume of water that needs to be in the retention area. That's part of the order of conditions on the certificate. So once that work is complete, then we can finalize the survey, showing that at the right elevation. The certificate can be signed by our engineer who certifies that it's been built in accordance with the documents. And once that's done, then we can submit it to the Concom.
When will that work likely be done?
I'm gonna try to get it done before the spring, for sure. It's just raising the concrete retention wall 7 inches. So we didn't do anything with it because we weren't sure if we were returning Highland back to grass or not. So once that decision was made to leave it as a parking lot, then now we have to make sure that it complies with Concom. So just adding about 20 feet of concrete to raise it 7 inches.
And can't do that in this kind of weather, right?
It's actually, we're gonna review with a couple different subs, whether, because Walsh was the one that originally did that work, Walsh, or if NCI can help us out with it. We'll just get it taken care of.
Thank you. So do we need to vote on change order 35?
I think we do. I'd entertain a vote for change order 35.
Moved.
Second?
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye opposed? Nope. Motion passes.
Okay, and so we have two contingency transfers that are actually changes, owner requests, but we're using remaining contingency funds to pay for them, since essentially the money will be going back to the project regardless. So the two changes are GCT 088, that is for PR 165, the added dehumidification units in the shops. So there's 3 shops, the carpentry, metal fab, and automotive shops that do not have AC or dehumidification. And just from our experience over last summer, there were some high humidity levels in those spaces, which caused some rusting and whatnot on the equipment. So in order to avoid that, we're gonna add these dehumidification units. There's 2 in each space. They all get connected with condensate piping. They need to get powered back to electrical panels within the building. Again, that work is scheduled to start on February 5th. The total of that scope is $290,759.11. There will be some I'll call it support scope that is not included in this price. Because it's difficult to quantify until we go do it. So any drywall patching, ceiling patching, paint touch-up associated with that work will come as a separate change. We'll just track it on time and materials, so we make sure it's just, we pay for the work that is needed and not asking someone to try to price it lump sum, which is difficult to.
But that will also come out of contingency.
It will also come out of contingency, not as an additional cost. So we just wanted to get this pricing approved in order to get the material released and get it here and get the work done as soon as possible in time for the summer. About, like I said, 6 weeks worth of work. We had gone back and forth whether we do it over April vacation, February vacation, or wait to the summer, but again, we wanted to get it done as soon as possible. And we have one other GCT 92 for PR 166. This is for some added signage right behind the desk out here in the central office. So it's a similar sign as this one right here, with the backlit Attleboro Public Schools, as well as some lettering that says central office. And so the total cost of that is $15,022.
50?
$15,022.
Good. Thank you.
Yep.
I'll say that.
I almost rolled out of my chair.
Yeah.
There must be dancing
The
deer or
asphalt
something.
escalation that's on the agenda, is that something we need?
I was hoping to be able to approve that, but there's a couple comments that we need to clean up, so that will be on next month's agenda.
So do you want a motion to approve the 2 that you just described?
Correct.
Yes.
3.
Just the 2. The asphalt escalation, we'll push that to next month, because
Oh, yes.
that number will be coming down next month.
Move to approve.
8892?
Second.
Comments, questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I think the next one might be Mason. For FFE.
Is that you, Mary?
So, kind of going right off of the deduct change order that we just voted to approve, we also have a vote to increase the not to exceed for the FF&E budget. That's going to be an increase of $25,000. So there's pending before us is some increased cafeteria and glides work that would be under the Red Thread contract. Bob, you might be able to speak to that a little bit more, as you were kind of the one who reached out on that sort of some outstanding work.
When we bought all the furniture here, we bought glides and wheels or whatever, the type of seating or tables, and the cafeteria was missed, and so we caught that, and it kind of fell through the cracks on the order, and then we put it back into play, and it took us till recently to chase it down, and we're trying to get it ordered now, because some of those felt glides are starting to wear out, and we need to replace them before they start doing any damage to the flooring in the cafeteria.
So Red Thread had agreed to hold their pricing on this. The pricing on just the casters and glides right now is $15,540.28. That was their quote. The quote was a little bit dated, and so we had reached out for an update, and they agreed to hold their pricing through the end of this month. to allow us for some time for this, but their prices actually have gone up, so they've doing us a little bit of a favor to hold that pricing through the end of the month. So we're trying to move on this, get a PO entered, this week.
So what is it, changing the bottoms? Is there labor to?
No, it's not, it's just for Jason's crew to swap out as they wear out and or break, the casters on the tables and chairs with casters. It's extra, attic stock.
Spare parts?
Yeah. We did it throughout the school, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we changed the type of casters, or we added casters on some of the tables, and that's why it was missed. What originally was purchased for those changed. And then when we did the attic stock, for repairing broken furniture, we never picked it up until recently. We had this hanging out there, and we caught it.
How long is the attic stock anticipated to last?
Oh, we have plenty. We bought I think it's 25% of stuff.
You can replace 25% of the.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, I think we need to have a motion to increase the not-to-exceed number for the FF&E budget by $25,000. Is that correct, Mason?
Correct.
I would entertain such a motion.
So moved.
Motion to not to exceed 25,000.
To increase the not to
To
exceed.
increase, I'm sorry, by 25,000.
I'm sorry, Jack.
I made the motion. I think you seconded it.
I think we got 2 seconds. Any discussion? Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Very good. All right, so it's bills and payments time.
I can cover it.
Okay.
Okay. So, Internet's enjoying some warm weather in Florida, so I'm here. Report. Skanska invoice December 2023 was $64,070, which brings our contract to complete 96%. Castle Booze December 2023 invoice includes $48,483 for AE closeout work, $297 for irrigation consultant work, includes KBA markup, $550 for Semiotis for Rathbun Willard Drive extension, includes KBA markup, totaling $49,330, and it brings their contract to 95% complete. Consigli's December 2023 invoice includes $123,810.56 for contract work, plus retainage to NCI for $356,988.23, plus retainage to JL Marshall for $103.65, for the total amount certified $478,034.80. This brings Consigli's contract to 99% complete. The city's invoices include for FedEx shipping totaling $68.96. The total invoice amount for December 2023 is $591,503.76. This brings the project to 99% complete with $257,027,241 paid to date and $2,890,939 remaining to bill. The values listed individually are with the invoice numbers and dates.
So out of that 2.9 million, we are not expecting to spend all of it. Is that correct?
Well, I won't say all of it, but we do anticipate spending some of it.
But we're still looking to be in a positive
We're still within
position.
budget. We are not going to exceed the budget at all.
And, I mean, as of the last meeting, we were thinking there would be some that we would not spend.
Correct.
Yeah, we talked about at the OAC meeting, probably for the end of February, we'll have an updated projection once all these changes get submitted and approved. We'll have a better understanding of what's remaining in the CM contingency, and then can give Skanska an update on where we see it. But yeah, right now we're showing 530,000 remaining in contingency. So depending on where these final numbers shake, it's going to be around that ballpark.
Mayor, you sent down the acceptance of Rathbun Willard and Brennan Way to the council?
I believe so, yeah. I believe it's before them right now, actually.
I
It's
think
public hearing.
public hearing coming up in a
Yep.
few weeks. I assume that no one will have a problem with
Right.
making them public ways.
I don't think so. Standard fare.
Yeah.
Big day. Very good. Do we need a vote in paying the bills?
You need a motion? I'll make
Motion to pay the bills, Terry.
Motion to pay the bills.
second.
Any comments, questions, concerns about the bills? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Very good. Other project costs? Did you even discuss those? Did you, Mary?
Those were that was the
I miss it?
owner bills for
Okay.
FedEx. Yep.
Do we need a vote on the other project costs?
Those were included in the
They were?
totals.
Forgive me. Done then.
Yeah. so-
I think we're done.
Yes.
Parting,
Except for the fact that the date here is wrong. The meeting is the 28th.
well, thank you very much for catching that, Jack. Any parting thoughts before we adjourn to meet again on the 28th of February? All right, very good. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn at 6:14?
Actually, I thought we were meeting the 20, oh, there's a school holiday, school vacation.
It's school vacation week, so we pushed it back a week
2:28.
to the 28th.
Perfect, okay, thank you.
Did I have a motion to adjourn at 6?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
What else could be that?